A cold morning in England, May 29, 1943. RAF Alconbury, England. 7 experimental YB-40 flying fortresses stood ready for takeoff, engines rumbling under the gray dawn. Their crews, bundled in flight gear, checked their weapons and oxygen lines. They were about to embark on a mission that would reveal a deadly flaw, one hidden within the very design of America's most famous bomber. A problem born in the blueprints. The B-17, proudly called the Flying Fortress, was meant to defend itself. But inside its narrow fuselage, 2 waste gunners faced each other across a 10-foot corridor, firing through open windows. In combat, at 25,000 feet and 60 degrees below zero, these men collided again and again, tangling ammunition belts, disconnecting oxygen lines, and dying. Not from enemy fire, but from poor design. The reality of the air war. By early 1943, survival statistics were grim. The average B-17 survived only 11 missions before being destroyed. With crews required to fly 25, the odds of living through a full tour were just 27%. Empty bunks filled barracks across East Anglia. Personal effects were shipped home to grieving families. Theory meets reality. Before the war, U.S. strategists believed tight formations of bombers could defend themselves without escort. It was an elegant idea on paper, and a fatal one in practice. Over Germany, Luftwaffe pilots flying Focke-Wulf 190s and Messerschmitt Bf 109s exploited every weakness in those tight formations, especially the waist gun positions. The human toll. At operational altitude, frostbite and hypoxia claimed almost as many victims as enemy fire. Gunners wore layers of gloves, heated suits, and flak vests weighing 30 pounds, yet still lost fingers clearing frozen guns. 2 men, standing shoulder to shoulder, fought each other as much as the enemy. The YB-40 experiment. The Army Air Force sought a solution: build gunship escorts. Thus the YB-40 was born. A B-17 modified with more armor, more guns, and more ammunition. It bristled with defensive firepower, but in practice it exposed a fatal truth. Even doubled machine guns could not overcome a flawed layout. Failure in combat. On May 29, 1943, the YB-40s flew their first mission over Saint-Nazaire, France. Reports from returning crews were damning. Waist gunners couldn't track enemy fighters because they kept bumping into each other. Their added firepower only worsened coordination. A month later, during the June 22 raid on Hills, tragedy struck when a YB-40 was lost after its waist gunners again failed to defend their ship. Investigation and urgency. Post-mission debriefs triggered alarm across the chain of command. Engineers at Boeing, Douglas, and Lockheed pored over reports. At the Cheyenne Modification Center in Wyoming, mechanics began experimenting with fixes, searching for a simple, fast solution. A simple, brilliant fix. The breakthrough came not from a committee, but from the shop floor. Move one waist window 3 feet forward, the other 3 feet back, stagger them. That small shift gave each gunner his own space, his own firing arc. No collisions, no tangled belts, maximum visibility. Testing the change. The first B-17 fitted with staggered waist windows entered combat in July 1943. The results were immediate: cleaner firing fields, fewer jams, and a dramatic reduction in friendly interference. The next step was enclosing the openings with plexiglass panels, shielding gunners from the freezing slipstream. From field fix to factory standard, Douglas applied the modification to late production B-17Fs that summer. Boeing quickly incorporated it into the brand new B-7G model. What began as an unapproved trick became a design revolution spreading through every production line in America. The birth of the B-17G. The B-7G wasn't just tougher, It was smarter. A new chin turret protected the nose. Larger tail windows improved rear defense. Staggered waist positions transformed coordination. By late 1943, the Flying Fortress truly lived up to its name, proof in combat. During the October raids over Bremen and Schweinfurt, including the infamous Black Thursday, newer G models suffered fewer losses. Luftwaffe pilots reported that waist gunners now tracked targets smoothly, forcing Germany to change tactics and invent new weapons to attack from a distance. Changing the balance of power, by early 1944, the 8th Air Force could plan deeper raids with fewer losses. For the first time, daylight bombing over Germany became sustainable. Confidence replaced despair. Experience had rewritten engineering. Training for survival. At gunnery schools across America, instructors rewrote training manuals. With staggered positions, deflection shooting finally became practical. The modification influenced future aircraft too, from the B-24 Liberator to the B-29 Superfortress with remote turrets. The turning point. In early 1944, massive raids like Big Week tested the new fleet. Over 3,000 sorties hit aircraft factories across Germany. Losses, once crippling, were now manageable. Lieutenant General James Doolittle allowed escorts to roam free, confident the bombers could defend themselves, and the Luftwaffe began to collapse. Victory through adaptation. By the summer of 1944, crews routinely completed 35 mission tours. Survival odds had doubled. What had once been a death sentence became an achievable goal, thanks to lessons learned the hard way. Engineering meets humanity. By war's end, production plants were turning out 16 B-17Gs per day. Each one carried the wisdom bought with blood. Financial reports later showed a $20 million investment in modifications had saved aircraft and crews worth 10 times more. Legacy beyond the war. The lessons lived on. Every post-war military aircraft incorporated human factors engineering, better visibility, workspace, and protection. The staggered window was more than metal and glass. It was a symbol of learning under fire. The final assessment, General Carl Spaatz said it best. The B-7G was designed not in factories, but in combat. The simple staggering of two windows, a mechanic's unapproved idea, saved thousands of lives and helped win the air war over Europe. Simple changes, profound results. Victory through adaptation. The human dimension of innovation. Behind every engineering change was a story of survival. Crews returning from missions wrote detailed letters and reports describing what worked and what didn't. Mechanics in England and engineers back in the US studied every detail, proving that true innovation came not from laboratories but from the courage of those who faced death daily. The power of adaptation. This process, observation, experimentation, modification, became the blueprint for future military innovation. The American war machine was not just powerful, it was flexible. Every failure became data, every loss became a lesson. The staggering of waist windows became a symbol of how small insights could reshape entire wars. Recognition and legacy. After the war, the U.S. Strategic Bombing Survey confirmed the numbers. Staggered waist positions, enclosed windows, and improved firing arcs had reduced bomber losses by up to 40%. The change saved over 800 aircraft and countless lives. What had started as an unapproved trick had become an officially celebrated design milestone. A lesson for generations today. Engineers and historians still point to the B-7G's evolution as a case study in combat-driven design. In museums, Visitors see those of set windows and learn that technology alone never wins wars. It's how people adapt, think, and improve under pressure that makes the difference. Closing reflection. The story of the B-17's transformation is ultimately about human ingenuity in the face of chaos. A small modification, 3 feet of staggered glass and steel, helped turn a vulnerable bomber into a war-winning weapon. It reminds us that in every field, from engineering to everyday life, survival and success